Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. Start with a roll call from our city clerk, Kathy Valdez.
The record shall reflect that all members are present.
Okay, and Councilmember Contreras will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our city clerk, Kathy Valdez, has some procedural items to go over.
Thank you, Mayor. In accordance with the Brown Act, I'd like to announce as a result of convening simultaneous meetings, the members of the Buena Sanitation District will receive compensation of $147.75 for the district meeting pursuant to Buena Sanitation District Ordinance 2006-1. I would like to remind everyone that the Vista Municipal Code requires members of the public to observe order and decorum at the meeting and to conduct themselves in a courteous manner. The ordinance was adopted to allow for public input and to facilitate city business without disruption in the meeting. Applause is appropriate for items listed on the presentation portion of the agenda only. Students wishing to receive credit for attending this evening's meeting must stay for a minimum of 1 hour. However, we ask that you stay for the completion of an item rather than leaving in the middle of a discussion. When you are ready to leave, you may ask one of the staff members at the back of the room to sign your paper. Thank you.
Thank you. To speak on an item on the agenda tonight, please fill out a speaker slip with the number of the item you'd like to speak on. Give it to the clerk, secretary, staff here at the dais. Speaker slips are available on the table just outside the city council chambers. For members of the public participating via Zoom, you may use the raise your hand feature to indicate you'd like to speak, or press *9 on your phone. We will announce when to raise your hand to indicate you would like to make a comment on the specific item being discussed. Speakers will each have 3 minutes to address the city council. Now we'll go to our city manager, John Conley, for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's agenda, discussion item D2 related to acquisition of a permanent homeless navigation center is going to be moved. We'll be bringing that back at a later date, so that will be continued, and we won't be covering that tonight. Otherwise, the agenda is unchanged. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have 2 presentations this evening. I'd like to invite my fellow council members to join me at the lectern for them. Dora's not here, right? Dora's not here. Right? John, Dora's not here? Okay. No problem. I got it. Okay. Our first presentation tonight is one recognizing the recipients of the 2024 Employee of the Year Awards. Our first proclamation is for Alfredo Olivares for the Mayor's Excellence in Service Award. Alfredo, would you please come forward? Honor to recognize you. Thank you. You get to stand up there and hold it. Okay, our proclamation reads, whereas Alfredo Olivares was recently recognized as the recipient of the City of Vista's 2024 Mayor's Excellence in Service Award, and whereas Alfredo Olivares has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the success of his colleagues by going above and beyond in training them for their Class A license, ensuring that they are well prepared not only for the behind-the-wheel portion, but also in their knowledge of vehicle parts and mechanics. Whereas Alfredo took the initiative to create a comprehensive training resource, compiling the detailed list of parts guide with visual references to improve recall and streamline the learning process, all while fostering a culture of support and teamwork. Whereas Alfredo consistently seeks ways to enhance efficiency, offering innovative solutions that save time and resources while benefiting both his colleagues and the organization as a whole. And whereas Alfredo exemplifies professionalism, courtesy, and exceptional customer service, treating every resident he encounters with respect and kindness, reflecting positivity on the streets and stormwater division and the entire city. Whereas Alfredo's work ethic, enthusiasm, and dedication set a high standard making him not only one of the hardest working employees, but also a valued and respected member of his team. Now, therefore, it is my privilege as the mayor and the members of the City Council do hereby congratulate Alfredo Oliveras as the recipient of the 2024 Mayor's Excellence in Service Award, and do hereby proclaim Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, as Alfredo Oliveras Day in the City of Vista. Yes, thank you to Mrs. Oliveras for allowing Alfredo to serve the people of Vista, and to all of the spouses of our city employees and council members and my own wife. All of us work strange hours, especially our firefighters and sheriff's deputies and a lot of our stormwater workers working strange hours. So thank you to the spouses that enable us to serve, because we all know we couldn't do it without them. Our next award goes to Jonathan Long for Manager of the Year Award. We're very proud of Jonathan and his work helping us solve and prevent homelessness here in Vista. Our proclamation reads, whereas Jonathan Long was recently recognized as the recipient of City of Vista's 2024 Manager of the Year Award, whereas Jonathan Long has demonstrated exceptional commitment to the City of Vista and its residents in his role as the Homelessness Services Program Manager, ensuring that critical programs and initiatives addressing homelessness continue to thrive despite staff transitions and challenges. Whereas Jonathan played a pivotal role in securing $5 million in funding from Senator Catherine Blakespear in the state legislature in 2023 for an interim supportive housing master lease project, forging a groundbreaking partnership with the City of Encinitas to expand vital services for those in need. Whereas through his innovative approach to an ability to foster collaborations with other cities, community organizations, and legislative representatives, Jonathan was instrumental in establishing the Buena Creek Navigation Center, the county's first ever city partnership navigation center, and the City of Vista's first low barrier navigation center, which opened in March of 2023. Whereas Jonathan's leadership has ensured that his master lease program will remain funded for at least 3 years, significantly impacting the city's unsheltered population by providing essential services, interim housing, and a pathway toward stability and self-sufficiency. And whereas Jonathan has successfully implemented the city's safe parking program, continues to lead efforts on transitional housing projects, and has fostered a positive and supportive work environment that empowers his team, mentors new staff, and cultivates a culture of collaboration and growth. And whereas his unwavering dedication to addressing homelessness, his ability to make challenging decisions with resilience, and his deep commitment to the city's strategic plan to address homelessness exemplify the highest standards of public service. Now, therefore, I, the mayor, and the members of the Vista City Council hereby congratulate Jonathan Long as the recipient of the 2024 City of Vista Manager of the Year Award, and do hereby proclaim Thursday, April 10th, 2025, as Jonathan Long Day in the City of Vista. Our final employee proclamation is for Dora York, Employee of the Year. Unfortunately, Dora is not able to join us tonight, but we want to take the opportunity to recognize her and her service to our city. And we will fully recognize Dora with her proclamation when she's back with us at a future council meeting. We look forward to honoring her for her fantastic work, and we congratulate her in becoming named our our Employee of the Year. And our final proclamation this evening is one declaring April 2025 as Earth Month in the city of Vista. And I'd like to invite Greg Wade, the CEO of the Clean Energy Alliance, to come forward and accept the proclamation. Whereas 2025 marks the 55th anniversary of the Earth Day movement and serves as an opportunity for individuals and communities to raise awareness and advocate for the health of our planet, air, oceans, soil, ecosystems, wildlife, and human health. And whereas the city of Vista celebrates Earth Day by extending it to the month of April in recognition of the city's commitment and implementation of sustainability efforts and environmental stewardship. And whereas the theme Earth Day 2025 is Our Power, Our Planet, celebrating the collective efforts of communities that have long driven environmental progress. It focuses on utilizing renewable energy to create a healthier, more sustainable and prosperous future for everyone. Whereas the City of Vista has committed its municipal buildings and operations to 100% renewable energy through the Clean Energy Alliance and is recognized as a Green Impact Champion and has recently installed new solar carports at the Civic Center and will power over half of the energy used here at the Civic Center annually with them. Whereas the City of Vista launched a solar street lighting program this year to enhance public safety while reducing the city's reliance on traditional electricity sources, promoting energy efficiency and environmental responsibility. And whereas the City of Vista understands the urgency of climate change and addresses it through the implementation of the 2021 Climate Action Plan, encouraging sustainable transportation practices, planting trees in our parks and along our traffic corridors, keeping our environment clean of litter, and encouraging our residents and businesses to participate in sustainability programming. And whereas the City of Vista, with the leadership of the Vista City Council, promises to continue to strive for a healthier and safer future for all through improving our environment, protecting our natural resources, and practicing sustainability. Now, therefore, I, the mayor, and the members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Earth Month in the City of Vista. And that's the end of our presentations this evening. Okay, let's bring us to our oral communications item this evening. Any member of the public may address the City Council on agency-related matters not on the agenda by requesting to speak during this portion of the agenda. If you are participating via Zoom, you can use the raise your hand feature now or press *9 if you'd like to speak. Or you can submit a request to speak card here at the dais. The number of speakers that will be heard during this segment is limited to 10. Any remaining speakers will be heard under the second oral communications item later in the evening if there are more. We do have, looks like 2 speakers for oral communications, make that 3. And we will start with Patrick Donahue. Mr. Donahue, you have 3 minutes. Sorry about that.
This good?
There you go. You can hear loud and clear now.
And so the reason I'm here is about Farmers Cup. I didn't know about it at all. I've lived in Vista for 40 years. I go up Bringle Terrace hundreds of times over the years, basketball, all those kinds of things. So my wife, son, and I and the dog were taking a walk on March 14th, the day before, and they're setting things up, and it's going to rain. What's going on? And then I heard about Farmers Cup. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with the statistics associated with marijuana use and all those kinds of things. That's a choice. I know it's legal. I was a social worker for 40 years. My wife was a school teacher for 32 years. I was a head counselor at Rancho Buena Vista for a while. Okay, most of my time was spent in middle schools and then working for the Regional Center for the Disabled. I have some experiences. I volunteer at Brother Benno's. And I'm not going to go through statistics. I'm done with those. I've written them up, though. Okay, here's my concern. You can't find a better place in Vista, the first place in San Diego County touted that would accept this type of a group. I appreciate money. I appreciate providing it to people in the community. I don't appreciate that it's near the child care centers, the basketball courts, and the other places where children are at from 10 in the morning to probably midday. I know it went to 10 o'clock at night. Okay, they had one of the events, all the munchies you want to eat. We all understand munchies, I hope. 420. You know what 420 is? Okay. 420 is that kind of concept that came out of the 60s. I was there, I saw it. Okay. 420 was Hitler's birth date, by the way, was part of this. Okay. I'm just mentioning that. 420 is International Toke Out, Smoke Out time. So you get all the smoke you can, all you want. We're doing that at Bringle Terrace Park, near the basketball courts and all those other events. That's what's really upsetting. So here's the challenge I have for you. You can't find a better place? I'll tell you some. Right here. Why don't you do it in the parking lot here? Why don't you do it at the sheriff's department? Why don't you do it someplace? Golf courses, whatever. At a park? Somebody has to stand up and speak for those that can't. Maybe because of language, maybe because of time, or whatever. I've never been here before, but I'm so disappointed. I am terribly disappointed in what happened. Okay? I've spoken to several of you, or tried to. I've spoken to Mr. Pacheco. Nice people. Very listening, great listeners, okay? But you're missing the point. What image are we giving to the future? And what are we doing to them? I'll tell you a fast story. I was a liaison at Children's Hospital, okay? I'm gonna be real quick with this. There's a young man in there named David, okay? He went in and ate the red pills on his grandmother's coffee table. They were heart medication. David was 5. When I met him, he was in a comatose condition and he subsequently died. All the munchies you want to bring home, they touted. All the things you want to get, they touted. Smoke out, get blasted. Have you looked at Nextdoor and the comments? When we looked at it, it was 371. 75% of them were negative. We can't find a better place? That's my issue. Find something that's adult-oriented, 21 and over. Although most people...
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. I apologize to cut you off. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we're going to go to Zoom, where we have, looks like Devin Rupp. Might be Devin Rapp. Is it Rapp?
Yeah, hi. Thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to speak this evening. In light of National Public Health Week, I'd like to address some facts about cannabis in our community. It's time to face the reality that cannabis is not the harmless substance some would like us to believe. We've seen the negative impacts of its widespread use, including impaired cognitive function, mental health issues, and a growing addiction problem. Despite the clear risks, there has been minimal action from public health departments to educate the public. Where are the proactive campaigns warning citizens about the dangers of cannabis? We have strong educational programs for tobacco, alcohol, and gambling, yet marijuana's risks are largely ignored. This is a dangerous oversight that must be corrected. While some may be hesitant to act out of fear of reigniting the war on drugs, we must separate these political concerns from the reality we face today. The current state of marijuana regulation has become a free-for-all, where the illegal market runs rampant and the permitted market struggles to survive. This is unacceptable and damaging to our local economy and public health. We need to reevaluate the approach to marijuana policy in Vista. It's time to recognize the full scope of marijuana's negative impact on our city. We need stronger enforcement to eliminate illegal marijuana sales and a much more aggressive public health campaign to educate citizens about its dangers. It is crucial that we protect our community from the destructive effects of marijuana. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Kelly McCormick on Zoom.
Hello, thank you. This is Kelly McCormick. I'm a public health educator, and my comment is related to the Farmer's Cup, but not limited to it. I'm speaking about marijuana impaired driving. AAA recently surveyed marijuana users about their behavior, reporting that 44% said they consumed marijuana multiple times per day. Consuming then driving was common. Nearly 85% said they drive the same day they consume marijuana, with 53% saying they consume marijuana an hour or less before driving. Almost half believe that marijuana use had little effect on their driving ability. Beliefs and behaviors of this nature put all of us at risk. Marijuana negatively impacts attentiveness, perception of time and speed, and visual perception. It slows reaction time and impairs decision-making behind the wheel. The California Office of Traffic Safety reports that larger doses are associated with greater problems, finding that these drivers tend to weave in and out of lanes, react slower to traffic lights and unexpected obstacles, and are less aware of their speed, whether it's too fast or too slow. AAA recommends a multifaceted approach to combating impaired driving, utilizing public policy, enforcement, environmental strategies, and health information to improve public safety. AAA also studied the most effective types of messaging for reaching marijuana users, and you can find that information on the AAA website's newsroom. Thank you for allowing me to share this information.
Becky Rapp.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Becky Rapp, and I too am a public health educator here to express my concern about the continued sale of intoxicating hemp products, especially their impact on our youth. In September 2024, Governor Newsom enacted emergency regulations banning the sale of intoxicating hemp products statewide. While this ban was set to expire at the end of March, I'm grateful that the California Department of Public Health has officially extended the ban through June 2025. This is a critical step, but only meaningful if it's enforced. And the reality is, enforcement remains deeply lacking. In the county of San Diego, nearly half of all smoke shops continue to sell these products illegally. 2 shops within a mile of my home have received multiple warnings and still operate as if there are no consequences. This is why I urge this city council to take local action to protect our residents by enacting a Vista-specific ban on these intoxicating hemp products. A local ordinance would allow us to create clear enforcement mechanisms tailored to our community, and would show that Vista is serious about protecting youth and public health. We can work with law enforcement, public health departments, and responsible retailers to monitor the marketplace and hold violators accountable. Local action would also send a strong message to other cities across the county and state that public safety comes first, and it's time for our city to step up and make Vista a model for proactive, community-focused leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That'll bring us to the end of the oral communications opportunity for the evening. And now we'll move on to our consent agenda. And we'll close the opportunity for public comment. The recommendations for the following consent calendar will be enacted in one motion unless an item is removed from the calendar. Any member of the public may remove an item by submitting a request to speak card to the clerk or secretary by using the raise their hand feature on Zoom or by pressing *9. Items removed from the consent calendar will be considered immediately following the adoption of the calendar. We have 11 consent items this evening. Councilmember Contreras.
Yes, I need to recuse myself from C8, Speed Humps West Indian Rock. This happens to be near where I live, so I won't be able to vote on that, but I'll go ahead and move the rest of the consent calendar.
Very good. And I think the clerk can register your no vote or your abstention, excuse me, on that item. Do we need to, Mr. Chung, do we need to do that separately? If she abstains, does she need to leave the room? No? Okay. Very good. Okay, and we have item C6 has been pulled by a member of the community. Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Second to approve the remainder of the consent calendar, please.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Okay, that item is approved unanimously, and we will now proceed to item C6. And let the record reflect that Councilmember Contreras abstained from voting on item C8. Angel Harquin or Jarquin? Harkin? You have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Angel Jarquin, a constituent of Vista and a father who utilizes the bathroom every other day at Luz Duran Park. The bathroom remodel is something that we as a community need and are ecstatic to see and use. The one issue that needs to be addressed, however, is the maintenance and upkeeping of the current bathroom. It is appalling the level of neglect these bathrooms are left in, from the unsanitary conditions to the lack of hygienic necessities and the smell of feces that permeates passing the parking area adjacent to the bathrooms. This is a health and safety concern. It is embarrassing when we have visitors who use the park for soccer and have to use those bathrooms. Is this a reflection of your commitment to this pocket of our community and our youth? If this level of neglect continues with the new bathrooms, it won't last. Can I count on you all to ensure that gets rectified?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
And now we'll hear from Jovita Serafin. Jovita, would you like the translator?
I would say just a moment, we'll have the translator come in.
Buenas tardes.
Bueno, bien.
Go ahead whenever you're ready. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was the translator.
Ya. Buenas tardes, miembros del Concilio de Vista. Mi nombre es Jovita Serafín y yo vengo a hablar también de Parque Luz Durán. Necesitamos más limpios los baños. También nos gustaría que nos pusieran más vigilancia, ya que nosotros tenemos niños en el fútbol y toda la semana que los llevamos a entrenamientos huele demasiado a marihuana. Hay muchas personas tomando cerveza ahí en las bancas y necesitamos más un poco de vigilancia.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jovita Serafin, and I come here to speak on Luz Duran Park. I want to say that we need our bathrooms to be cleaner. The maintenance needs to be better. There needs to be more security if possible, since we take our kids there to play soccer and train, and there's always the smell of marijuana, and there's people drinking beer on the benches, so we need security.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ariana. Yo también soy madre de un niño que llevo al parque Tiffany's. Ya tengo 2 años llevando a mi hijo y sí hemos visto mucho el aumento de homeless o personas tomando cerca del parque, en las bancas y los baños también, muy mal aspecto. Y la verdad me da pena que vengan otros, cuando tenemos partidos y tenemos otros clubs que vienen a nuestro parque. La verdad, yo como residente de Vista sí me da pena que vengan de otros lugares y ver esos baños así, porque yo al igual voy a otros parques y la verdad no he visto los baños así de feos. Gracias.
Gracias.
Hi, my name is Ariana. I also have a son, and I frequent the Tiffany's Park. I've been going there for about 2 years. And yes, it is true, there's a lot of either homeless people or people drinking alcohol at the park, at the benches. The bathrooms are in a really bad state, and it's frankly a little embarrassing when any other club comes and they compete or for competitions and so. As a citizen of Vista, it's a little bit embarrassing because I also travel to other parks, and I've never seen the bathrooms in their parks in the state that our bathrooms are. Thank you.
Sí.
Solamente también quiero, no está en el tema, pero quiero darle gracias a la ciudad de Vista por el apoyo de las becas que nos dan a nuestros hijos. Vengo a mostrar los logros de nuestros hijos por las ayudas de las becas que nos dan. Son campeonatos de SoCal y State Cup. Muchas gracias.
I also want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for the scholarships that Vista has been providing the children. I came to show their accomplishments and their championships that they've won in SoCal and State Cal as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yo también le doy las gracias y gracias también por el apoyo que me han brindado y yendo conmigo a recoger basura.
Alma, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Alma, and I'm speaking on behalf of Tiffany Soccer Club, which serves dozens of families and children who regularly use Luzerán Park for practice and games. We are here today to respectfully request a change in the current restroom maintenance contract. The bathrooms at Luzerán Park have consistently been in poor condition and appear to go unclean for days. These unsanitary conditions not only create a negative environment, but also pose a health concern, especially for our young children who rely on these facilities. Our players, coaches, and families deserve clean and safe restrooms, just like any other public space in the city. We're asking the city to consider hiring a new company, one that can meet the basic standards of cleanliness. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to have an opportunity to talk about this issue. It's actually one of the comments I made when we started installing more bathrooms in the parks. We're acquiring a new maintenance burden, one that I think is incredibly important to the people of Vista when they take their children to one of the parks, when they take their family to a park, the way that they find the condition of the restrooms, especially when they have to take their small kids into the restrooms. When they find it unclean, that's a really poor representation of us as a city, and it's embarrassing to me. One of the things that I have tried to make very clear as mayor is that there have to be certain spaces that are 100% off limits to individuals who are living unlawfully, who are violating our city's 60-plus-year-old camping ban, which this council just voted unanimously to renew. I certainly have communicated that, and I want to thank our cops deputies, two of whom are with us today, and our entire sheriff's department have really tried to focus on this. And it's one of the reasons that I've continued to call for more sheriff's deputies, because really this is a staffing issue. In my opinion, it isn't the individuals that we've chosen to do the work, but it's a combination of they are not there frequently enough, which is something that we have control over. That's a money issue. How much money do we spend to have them there? My guess, Mr. Pacheco, could you come up, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is he here? Or I'm sorry, Mr. RC, our Public Works Director, who's in charge of the maintenance of the restrooms. My question as you're making your way down, Mr. RC, is I think probably we have our contractor there, is it once a day at Luz Duran? Twice a day? Okay. And I don't know, you probably don't know off the top of your head, and I'm not going to put you to the test, but maybe you know something about the cost of it. Maybe we've inquired about having the facilities maintained more frequently, and do we know what that would cost?
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
there we go. Yes, sorry. I didn't know
Thank
if I
you
had to
very
press
much.
the button. Our contract's $150 a year. Last year we spent about 120 in that fiscal year. They clean twice a day. Luz Duran and other facilities, there's issues at different parks, but it is twice a day. We have our parks crew who goes out and checks it, not daily, maybe 3 to 4 times a week. And then on the weekend, we don't check it because we have no staff here, but we can talk to CIT team or somebody else to see if they'll be able to check that for us going further,
So our contractor is there 10 times a week during the weekday, 5 days times 2.
Correct.
And then you said our parks team, does that mean our park directors, our park rangers?
No, that means our park lead workers
Mm-hmm.
who work the 6 to 4 shift, 6 to 4:30.
Public Works Department?
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
And how many times a week do they visit the restrooms?
That's about 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, so they're kind of checking in, supervising the work our contractor does.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then we have a ongoing meeting with our contractor, who's Premier Cleaning. Our supervisor meets with their managers quarterly, and then they also can be on a daily basis or a weekly basis with Arturo's, the person who cleans the bathrooms for us too.
Arturo is employee of the contractor, Premier?
Yeah, correct.
And is it your opinion and the opinion of your staff that Premier is leaving the bathrooms in an acceptable condition that I would be proud of when they finish their work?
Yeah, they do a good job. I mean, of course, there's obstacles of different situations that happen. They can go clean, and then someone can go on there and either put all the toilet paper into the
Sure.
toilet. I mean, there's different
I
situations.
mean, good
But
restroom
overall,
maintenance
they've been doing a
is-
good job.
Yeah, well, good restroom maintenance is like every hour on the hour. And obviously, if you're there at 9 in the morning and somebody ruins the restroom at 1 p.m. and you're not back till 3 p.m., then you've got a couple of hours where the situation isn't right. But we feel that the contractor, when they're there, they're doing their job 10 times a week to restore the bathroom to the condition that we would be proud of.
Correct, yeah. And another thing is, if we do get a call and let them know, hey, something happened, they'll come back out for us and address the problem. Like I said, everything can it be better, yeah, and it can be better on our part in inspecting, correct?
Well, this is not a condemnation either of the contractor or of your department. 2 times a day is just not enough. It would never be enough. It wouldn't be enough for most restrooms, particularly where we have some security issues and we have some unlawful activity. So I think the real question is whether or not the council feels like the current contract is sufficient and our current level of resource allocation to this problem is sufficient. So I wanted to try and better understand it. So $150,000, does that cover all of the parks?
Correct.
Okay, that's a pretty small amount of money how many park restrooms do we have?
There's 17, but some of them have just single stalls. Some of them are multiple, like Sports Park. Of course, there's more. You go to Thibodeau, and then you just have the 2.
Are there about a dozen, I'm guessing?
About 17.
17.
Yeah, give or take. I can be
Okay, no, that's good to know. Now we have some information. Have you ever had a conversation with Premier about expanding the number of times that they clean throughout the week?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Just the twice. Because before this, they used to do it once. Was a different contractor. We went out to bid. We're going into our final year after starting in July will be our final year of this contract, and then we'll have to go out to bid again because that'll be their 5th year going on.
Okay. Well, I for one think that we should get the information about what it would cost to upgrade the contract. I mean, number one, I think we need to make a full commitment, every member of this council, that we're not going to tolerate drug use in our parks. We're not going to tolerate people passed out in heroin coma in our parks. We're not going to let people in front of our kids use and display drug behavior. We're not going to have people who are illegally, sleeping or residing in the parks. It isn't legal to sleep in the park, not for any length of time. And I wish it was legal to take a nap for families, but we need to make it illegal, and we need to be diligent about enforcing it so that kids that are there to play football have a clean, safe place. I'm hoping that every member of the council is going to agree with me on this. The other thing that we need to do is we need to get somebody's cell phone number on a sign. Who is that person? I mean, I'll volunteer my own cell phone number. That way, I get the calls, and then I can call John Connolly on Sunday and let him know. And I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'll put, the mayor's cell phone number, and the mayor after me can offer their cell phone number if they want. But I want to know, and I'm inviting every member of the public, my cell phone number is 760-689-2220. And I want there to be a phone number on placards in the bathrooms where our residents can call if the conditions are unacceptable. And it's going to be a challenge, but we got to try and figure out how we can be responsive to that so that people feel like we care. Because the number one thing that I think we can do as a city is convince people through our actions that we do care, because I know we do. But we just haven't done enough, and it's not your fault or the management's fault. It's the council's fault because we spend enough time in the park bathrooms. We know that this is not acceptable, and it's a real representation of us as a city. And I want to be a beautiful, clean city, and I want to do better. So I look forward to hearing what the council thinks about this. Councilmember Contreras.
Mayor, I completely agree with you on this point that twice a day is not enough. I disagree with the city's stance that the contractor is doing a good job. The reason that people are here is because they have my cell number. So I actually invited folks to come here because when I look at this agenda, I look at it as a community member. And if there's an opportunity to speak on something that's extremely important to the community, I let them know. So I really appreciate everybody coming forward, but I have to completely disagree with the stance that the city has that this contractor is doing an appropriate job. And I'll give you many examples, one of which, this is a park that I love to go to. I go and I play basketball there. And it has been more than one occasion where I personally have been there and the water, the soap is watered down. Unacceptable. And that's the time where there is soap. I don't believe, I have already spoken to city manager that we are going to launch an investigation into the contractor to see if they are actually following through, because this council, 100%, we were unanimous in saying that we want our park restrooms to be maintained at a higher level, which is how we got to this $150K, right? We appropriated more money. But I don't want to give more money away when the bare minimum of this contract is not even being done. I get calls, my constituents text me, they let me know there's no soap again. I let Conley know. That's not good enough. We need to make sure that what the taxpayers are paying for is actually happening. In fact, one of these times where I was there playing basketball, this is about maybe a month ago at this point. You play basketball, your hands are getting dirty. So if you ever see anybody missing a bunch of shots, that's probably me. But I'm out there practicing. So I went over to the restroom and the soap was completely watered down. And the contractor was actually there. And so I was talking to some folks that were there at the park, and I had to go tell the contractor, listen, the soap in the women's restroom, I don't know about the men's because I haven't been in there, but the soap in the women's restroom is not adequate right now. It needs to get replaced, right? So I understand the concern about how someone could take toilet paper, but nobody is taking soap and putting water in it. The only person that's doing that, in my opinion, is the contractor. So I know my community completely disagrees with the stance that the city is taking, that the contractor is doing the tasks that they're tasked with. And that's not the city's fault necessarily. However, we do need to have more park maintenance and make sure that the soap and the toilet paper is there. We definitely need to have staff on weekends. And I would say this is, and I've also seen people smoking cigarettes, smoking cannabis, drinking, and I personally have to go and let people know this is not acceptable here, and I will be contacting the sheriffs, right? And we have, unfortunately, some folks have not wanted to go, and they've had the consequences of meeting our deputies in that situation. But this is less of an issue, I would say, with hiring more deputies. It's more of an issue of ensuring that the taxpayer money that's already being spent on a contract is being fulfilled, and to ensure that we have more of our staff that we can control. We can say, hey, you're going to be on the weekends where we have tournaments at Luz Duran Park. We're going to be doing it 3 times in that day because it's only a few stalls for the enormous amount of people that are utilizing the field. And Luz Duran Park is beloved by the community. It has a lot of shade. It has different amenities like a beautiful soccer field, basketball, right? Benches where you can sit down, grass. We have a little library. So I'm really disappointed. And only because I've seen it with my own eyes, I really just do not believe that this contractor is doing the best that they can with the money that the taxpayers have allocated for maintenance. So 2 things, yes, 2 times a day, 100%. I completely agree with you, Mayor Franklin. I want to see this come back to the council so we can have a discussion with our community, because I know this isn't the only park where this is happening. I've recently, since I discovered this at Luz Duran Park, that it's like a chronic issue there, I have heard from other residents in other districts about their parks, and some of the other parks are having the same issue. So I don't like when people cut corners. We need to fulfill these contracts to the best of the ability. And yeah, I'm looking forward for this to come back to council in a future discussion sometime this year. And hopefully, the community can come and we can hear more about other facilities. But I just really know that we could do better as a city, and we have to have some kind of a presence on the weekend. That's when our parks are being utilized, because we have folks that work so much throughout the day. So on the weekends, we have to be able to maintain those a little bit better. And I do want people to have pride in our city. So, and it's completely true what one of the constituents of mine said, right? Like, when you go to other cities, you're not running into this issue. So I think we can do better. But I think part of it is the contractor's fault, and the other part is that we're just gonna have to allocate potentially more funds to ensure that our restrooms are maintained. But again, I really wanna thank the community for coming out. I know it's not always easy to come here in person. You all have busy lives, but know that from me, you have 100% a commitment. This investigation has already been launched, and we will be discussing this as a council in the near future. With that, I'll go ahead and move this item. I'm super excited for these new restrooms. This is something that the community has wanted, and it's part of the grant that we got from the work that I did with our previous assembly member, Tasha Berner. And I just can't wait to actually have some really good facilities there. But the gentleman is 100% correct. If we don't get this maintenance under control, then those new facilities that we have are not going to withstand the abuse. So I really look forward to having world-class restrooms here in Vista. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. I definitely support the park improvements. I see that we're going to be bringing on kind of these prefabricated construction of new restrooms to Luz Duran Park. But I'm not seeing any maps on the agenda item. So would we be able to get just like an overview of where they'll be located and put?
Yeah, so this item is purchasing the prefab restroom for $240,000 roughly. We'll bring back a construction contract that will show the precise location, but essentially it's a little bit behind where the community center house is now.
Okay, so this just expands the facilities, right? The restrooms will be converted into storage and other more utility uses, and then these new restrooms will be brought on, and we'll have to, eventually look at construction for them. And then thank you, Councilmember Contreras, for bringing to our attention, and thank you to the community for bringing to our attention the issue with the lack of maintenance and perhaps bad activity from our contractor where they're not providing full supplies to the restroom. I want to pay for, I want every single drop of soap that is paid for by the taxpayers to, be used for their benefit. So I don't want us to be missing anything. So thank you, staff, for investigating that. And I would go ahead and second this item. Thank you.
Some thoughts for when we bring this back. So we get exactly one employee for $150,000?
Yeah, it's one employee that does it. I mean, sometimes they have a different person come in too that does it.
For $150,000, I do a real good job cleaning those bathrooms. That's a lot of money. And I'm thinking maybe we should look at firing the contractor, and maybe we want to think about, I'm not proposing it right now, but I think we should look at in housing this because, I'm looking at, so I just looked at the city's hiring page and I see Moonlight Amphitheater attendant $17.82 and some other maintenance type workers $22 an hour. So I thought maybe $22 an hour is an appropriate wage. I don't know what HR would think about it or what you would think about it. I don't know what you'd have to pay somebody to do this job and do it with pride. But I figure, what do you think 1.5 times base gets the fully loaded package?
Yeah,
We're going to bring it back. I'm just offering some thoughts and ideas here. But I bet that'd take care of it. I think we could hire like 3 people and we could break the job up. So I've just given you some thoughts here. And maybe we get a nice color photograph of this person. We put it and we say proudly maintained by, and we give them some ownership. And maybe we get one of those things on the wall where they sign when they've been there. Anyway, I'll heed Mr. Chung's admonition here, but I do want to have a full conversation about this because we can do a lot better job with the money, honestly, that we're spending right now. Because, man, for $150,000, that's I would make it my mission in life for that kind of money. And these bathrooms would sparkle and shine. And I would have my personal cell phone number on the wall, 100%. Call me if it's not right, because I'm going to be there in about 10 minutes. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Arce. I appreciate you, sir. All right. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Deputy Mayor, did you want to speak again? Okay. We have a motion, a second. Please cast your votes. That motion carries unanimously. That item is approved. We have 3 discussion items this evening. The first one is regarding concerns related to parking, traffic calming, and roadway design in the Raintree and Lemon neighborhood. If there are any members of the public that wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, by pressing *9, or by submitting a request to speak card. Speakers will be called upon after the presentation. Councilmember Contreras asked for this item to be placed on the agenda, so I'll ask her to introduce it.
Thank you so much. Yes, you know what? This also came out of conversations I've been having with my constituents. This area, there's not a ton of parking. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of use that happens at Raintree Park. And honestly, this is another one of those items where I just think that we can do better. So, in speaking with my constituents that live in this area, parking has been a significant issue. There's a lot of folks that are parking in red. A lot of folks that, now there's a daylighting law on the books, so you're supposed to park a certain amount away from the intersection. That education needs to go out into the public, definitely. But there's also an enforcement issue. Folks pretty much know what time the city closes, and after that, there's not a ton of code enforcement out there. And this is something that is, it's difficult, near impossible to have our deputies, babysit our streets and come and cite for parking in red. But our code enforcement, this is something that they would be able to do. We have, through different conversations I've had with the city, looked at extending code enforcement hours, but it's going to take the will of the council to potentially allocate more funding to code enforcement in the budget. I wanted to keep this, quite a broad topic so we can discuss a few of the different issues that are happening in this area, but my constituents have been 100% on board with having more code enforcement. They also are really thankful for some of the traffic calming that's been happening, but there needs to be more. And there's also the issue with the roadway design. I really do believe in the communication that has come out of speaking to folks that live in this area and actually throughout District 1. In particular, it would be east of North Santa Fe. Folks are looking for creative ways to maybe enhance the amount of parking or make it safer by doing angled parking, which may necessitate doing one-way streets in some areas. But these are all the discussions that me and my constituents are having. And so I wanted to bring that to the council so that I could hear from you if there is an appetite to potentially, do some kind of a pilot program in this area to review it for potential more angled parking, extended code enforcement hours, and potential differences in circulation, looking at, hey, is it feasible to do a one-way street here, and be able to kind of move that discussion forward, which is going to take different parts, right? I mean, our fire department has to look at it, our sheriffs have to look at it, the city and traffic engineering have to look at it. So it's kind of a longer process, but I wanted to bring this to the council so we could start having that discussion. So this is my introduction to having that conversation, and I really appreciate my council, the work that we've done, and hopefully I can hear a little bit from you about some of the ideas that I've put forward. And it could be just simple, like, hey, yes, we're on board with looking at having a pilot program here that would look at different parking scenarios, different roadway design, and extended code enforcement. And potentially, maybe this is a 6-month pilot project, right, where we have additional code enforcement after hours. So I'll go ahead and stop there, but just wanted to lay the table for the discussion that we're having today. Thank you.
Okay, we don't have any requests for public comment on this item, so we'll close the opportunity for public comment on this item. I just want to say I 100% agree with you about the need for after-hours and weekend code enforcement. Mr. Conley and I haven't had a lot of conversation about it, but Patrick Johnson and I had many conversations, and we did expand in the last couple of years several. Seems like we expand them half a position at a time, and I'd like to see us take a look. Code enforcement, particularly parking enforcement, is one of the only jobs here at the city that actually has some revenue tied to it. So it's a little bit subsidized. The people that issue traffic tickets for us do not pay for their salaries, but I think, about half of their salaries maybe we're able to generate from the tickets they issue. So they're a little bit more affordable when we're looking at adding positions. But I think all over the city we have real issues with parking, and as we grow and we become more dense as a city, parking is more and more of a premium, and it's good neighbors observe parking laws, and that makes for happy neighbors. So I would totally like to look with you, would support your effort to ask staff to bring back an analysis of where are we at with code enforcement, particularly parking. What would it take to add? What would the recommendation be? I would like to see that, and I think that's a good regular conversation for us. Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council Member, for bringing this item forward. I agree there are, messages, emails, phone calls I get constantly from folks in my neighborhood saying that there's an issue with parking, or generally what ends up happening is it's a code violation, right? And so even just to be able to review, our code enforcement operations and to be able to discuss a little bit more broadly what their activities are. And I think that that would be good education for the public as well, to really, this is a wonderful position in the city that offers, an essential service, as all of our staff do. But the interest in extending code enforcement hours and increasing staffing, I think that we should definitely look at. I agree with the mayor. We do have potentially dollars coming in, right, of revenues of those violations. And I think you're also asking us to maybe develop programming. So there's the enforcement side, but then it's also looking at how are roads designed and how is their order established in the neighborhoods so that there can be ease when utilizing the public right-of-way. So I would definitely like to look at programming. I think that that's a really dynamic conversation. Each neighborhood is different. The parking needs for the residents vary, right? And as the mayor mentioned, new development impacts that. And so the city should be proactive, and we should look at ways for us to improve the use of the public right-of-way so that we can maximize space. Parking certainly is at a premium. And then there's the question of circulation, right? Just people being able to have ease as they're coming home, being able to park. I know that that's super frustrating. I don't have a ton of parking in my neighborhood. So it's one of those things where we want people at the end of a long day, they're coming home from work, picking kids up from school, they want to be able to get as close as home as possible, right? I think that's a safety concern. When you mentioned a pilot program, it made me think of our recent pilot program for our lighting project, right, for the solar lights. And I think it's totally appropriate to look at a neighborhood that might be having a specific issue and ask ourselves, what city services could we deploy here so that there can be order and safety and just general well-being in the area. So definitely support that. I think you're asking a couple different questions, but I support extended hours for code enforcement. And I would like to look at, how do we develop a framework for improving parking in a neighborhood? It's a big question. Thanks for bringing it up.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Thank you, Councilmember, for bringing this forward. Parking is an issue in literally every city I've ever lived in, especially in the state of California. So this is no stranger to me. I lived in Pacific Beach as well as Ocean Beach, and there is no street parking for most people that live in those areas. I'm fortunate that in the area I live in, there is no street parking, or there's never an issue with street parking, at least in my neighborhood. So, but I did have a couple things. So currently, how many code enforcement officers do we have staffed?
I'm going to have to defer to Josh if he's here, or Imelda if you have that information.
Hurry up, Imelda.
Good evening. Currently, there's 6 full-time and the manager and a part-time as well.
So I guess my question would be then, if we opened up an opportunity for a type of promotion that would offer higher pay to work in the evening, would that put us at a deficiency with the other 5 individuals, or would we have to backfill that? Or would we still be able to operate with 5 individuals during the daytime and 1 in the evening working at a higher salary?
We would have to analyze that. However, right now, nighttime enforcement, and it hasn't really impacted operations, but I'll defer to Josh for more details.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's
No, go
fine. I think if you add somebody, just one individual, and you promote them, it could make a difference at some point. But if they're gone or if they're on vacation, and a lot of times they're only on the 410, there's gonna be like 3 of those days where it still might continue, and there's nobody else to offer that cover that gap in coverage.
If I could offer.
You may.
This is going to require some analysis. We really need to look at what our current staffing is, what their current timeframes are, and what the need is. So we'll look at nighttime and weekend enforcement, and we'll come back with a code enforcement discussion. I don't want to.
And City Manager, to be fair to your comment and to staff, I did not expect you to have all the answers to that
Okay, thank
question.
you.
I just wanted to try and present it as an option to bring forward because I do agree that a pilot program would not be a bad thing, because this is not a unique occurrence within our city. In many different neighborhoods, I'm sure this happens. Are we doing anything currently during the daytime to try and mitigate any of the issues that are taking place there?
Yeah, I mean, we are, it's part of our areas where it's there's parking areas around the city that are problematic. So we have our regularly monitored areas where our officers will go to. But yeah.
So to the point that the deputy mayor made and that the council member made, I'm assuming that this is less of an issue during the day when everybody's at work.
Right.
Got it.
And another point to make is that we've already asked staff to see if they'd be interested in changing schedules, but typically
No one jumped at an overnight shift?
Yeah, exactly.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
I've worked them. They're not fun, trust me. So I will, if we want to explore the idea of angled parking, creating a one-way street, or other options, I'm open to those, just so long as they don't impede our first responders, as you had mentioned. But I think it's a great opportunity to try and do that and look at different ways that we might be able to improve traffic flow in the city, especially in other neighborhoods, and keep it safe at the same time. But those are all my questions. I appreciate you bringing this forward, and look forward to seeing what we talk about in the future.
Councilmember Fox.
Awesome. Thank you. I was curious if, I don't know if this is for the city manager or for one of the two of you, but I was curious if the current parking situation, if people are actually breaking the ordinances in a way that would actually solve a parking problem, right? If parking in a red curb, well, I'm not going to propose that as a solution to creating more parking. If people are parking on the streets on a public right of way, I don't it's not necessarily breaking the law. It sounds like a lack, that we might not be able to enforce something there.
Yeah, I think with the current ordinances that are in play that we can enforce, of course, are like the red curb parking. But then I think also the daylighting law, where they can't park in a certain amount of feet from the intersection, is something that we are more likely to enforce now. It was part of an education outreach effort in the beginning, just because it's a new law. But now that we did put that out in our Vista magazine to inform the public of what's going on. And so that we're going to start enforcing that aspect too.
Yeah, and so my concern is that if people are complaining about parking, and our way of solving that is to put code enforcement people to ticket people who are parking illegally in places that aren't parking spots, it doesn't necessarily free up more parking. It's kind of like more of a structural issue that is going to be a little difficult to fix. But in where I live currently, there's rules with HOAs and things like that. It's kind of who does these types of things. Where if you have a garage with 2 spots and you don't park in your garage and you park all your cars on the street, you're breaking an HOA rule, not an ordinance, right? And so that's kind of where I'm like, do we have ordinances that people are not allowed to park on the street? Because I don't think you'd be able to do that.
No.
Yeah. It was.
No, that's all privately enforced. We can't do that.
Is this currently like an area that's zoned to have the 2 parking spots and covered parking spots and 2 open parking spots per residence?
It's single-family zoning, so yeah, it's 2 and 2.
Okay, so
However, there are requirements now that allow people to build additional units that don't require parking, and I'm sure that's impacting this neighborhood too.
okay. Yeah, I could definitely see if the unit was built with 2 and 2, and then they turn their garage into a rental unit or something like that. You lose 2 parking spots and add more residents. That could be an issue for a community like this. Okay, well those are kind of the big questions I have just going forward. If the council's interested in code enforcement and all that, I'm on board. But I think that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Councilmember Contreras.
Thank you, Councilmember Fox. I want to lend an additional note on the red curb, because I totally agree with you, right? The issue is that there's not enough parking, right, for the density that we have. And my district is like 2.2 square miles with 25,000 people, right? Versus your district, which is I think 6.6 in your district, right? But we're still seeing in some areas, even in the districts that are larger, there's this parking issue. And so I think you're 100% right in saying hey, people are parking in the red because there's not enough parking, right? But one of the biggest issues with the way, so our roads are really narrow in this area. And so when folks are parking in red, especially if there's kind of a curve, or maybe it's not red right now, but it's part of this new daylighting law, right? And you're not supposed to park so close to an intersection. What happens is that there's a lot of near accidents, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls and texts about that because, again, there's a lot of people walking and biking and driving their car in these neighborhoods. So being able to have that visibility and those sight lines is critical. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up, parking and potentially looking at one-ways is that this is a part of our community that's really open to innovative designs for traffic calming, for trying to increase and enhance the utilization of the public right-of-way, right? So that way we can be safer and still have that really good community feel that we want. I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing from you and from the rest of the council members that there is a will at this council to look at how we can solve some of these issues, because it is a structural issue. I 100% agree with you, right? So I think it would be great to analyze, the pilot project can start here, but certainly it can, it sounds like code enforcement already has some ideas of these problem parking areas. So I would love to see a discussion in the future where we have a map of this, we can invite the community, and we can start talking about, hey, are there different ways that we can restructure the public right-of-way so that folks can safely use it, and potentially we can create more parking in a safer manner. One of the other issues is that, listen, I agree parking is a premium, and it gets a little contested every once in a while between neighbors. And so you have folks that are saving parkings. That's much harder to do if you have angled parking, right? You can't just put your trash can there and be like, oh, I'm saving this parking, right? Or park your car in a certain way where you're, potentially going to have a little bit more room on this side and that side, and then you repark, and then whoever's coming home, right? They want to be able to come home and not have a mile walk. So angled parking could be a solution, but it's got to be able to fit in the footprint that we have that's the public right-of-way. So I think that's where, this pilot project could be beneficial. And maybe, the analysis comes back and it's in this immediate area, we can't do a one-way, right? I don't know what that looks like, but at least I'm hearing from my council that there is the majority of the council that wants to help this community out with a pilot project and programming that's going to have, after hours code enforcement, that's going to look at the circulation, right, and potential roadway redesign, and the potential for more angled parking. And I think that is the beginning of our quest here on council to make sure our constituents, have good quality of life. And I know my constituents will be really happy to move in that direction. And I wish I could address all of their issues just right now, but I know it's going to take time. And so I really ask, the public to just work in collaboration with the council, with the city, so that we can all come to a better solution in our community. Yeah, so I think outside of that, we kind of went through some of these issues, and I just want to ask City Attorney, do you have, clarification of what the council is asking for this?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's going to take into consideration parking, circulation, roadway design, angled parking? Okay, and City Manager?
Yes, one thing I need to bring to your attention is our staff can evaluate this at a surface level. What you're asking for will require us to bring a consultant in to do some professional analysis. So I'll bring back a contract for that work, and we can bring it to council for discussion, and then I'll bring back the code enforcement discussion separately as part of the budget in May.
Okay, fantastic, yeah. I figured as much that we would probably need. I mean, we did that for the downtown committee, right? So, okay, fantastic. Well, this is kind of the way that the government process happens, right? We have to have all our discussions in the public. Then if there's a majority of the council that is wanting to move forward in a certain direction, then we go ahead and give that direction to staff, and then it will continue to move forward through the process. It sounds like, to the residents of District 1, there might be some other meetings that you might want to come to. We will be in communication. You got my cell number, you got my email. Let's have another team meeting very, very soon so we can go over what happened here and we can ensure that your wishes are being heard by the council and are going to be implemented into a new framework and a new way of doing things. But thank you so much to my council, and I look forward to these discussions in the future.
Okay, very good. That's the end of comments on this item. Sounds like staff has clear direction. So we will move on to item D3, which is our traffic calming program update. If any member of the public wishes to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature by pressing *9 or submitting a request to speak card at this time. Speakers will be called upon after the presentation. Our engineering division manager, Sam Hassanen, will provide for the staff report, and Mr. Hassanen will just take a quick pause here for 1 minute while our students clear out. Mr. Hassanen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the background on this item is at the November 7th, 2024 Goals Update Workshop, the City Council directed staff to include raised pedestrian crossings in the city's neighborhood traffic common program. And a little bit of information about these raised crosswalks is what I call marked raised crosswalks, because they do require to be marked. And these devices can be effective measures under the right conditions to accommodate pedestrians crossing a street. And this type of crosswalk is normally constructed with a raised asphalt table, along with appropriate standard signs and markings. And a raised crosswalk is most effective when accompanied by some form of traffic control device, such as stop control or a pedestrian-activated flashing light system. So a couple other things about these marked crosswalks, or generally really marked crosswalks and marked raised crosswalks operate more effectively in urban and commercial environments where motorists are more likely to anticipate their presence, and they tend not to work so well in isolated areas such as neighborhoods, rural in character, where drivers are not really expecting them. So the updates to the traffic common policy with relation to the raised marked crosswalks specifically that we're proposing to add is the criteria to evaluate for installation of new ones. We will propose to consider accident history, vehicle and pedestrian volumes, vehicle speeds, street width, number of travel lanes, horizontal and vertical alignment of the street and neighborhood character, and engineering feasibility, including drainage, constructability, and cost. Also, we are proposing that any marked raised crosswalk shall always be supplemented by some form of traffic control device, such as stop sign or pedestrian-activated flashing light system. And also, the way that they're constructed shall, at a minimum, consist of the following: a raised rectangular table constructed of asphalt with a minimum width of 10 feet and a height ranging from 3 inches to 3.5 inches. And then there's ramps that will ramp up to that table that kind of gently slope up towards it, and also made of asphalt. And then marked crosswalk signs and markings in accordance with state standards, and then a traffic control system. So the staff recommendation is to review and approve the proposed changes to the city's traffic common program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you. So thank you for these updates. I know as I've utilized some of these devices, specifically the raised pedestrian crossing in downtown, I've really enjoyed it. I think that it adds to a sense of safety for all of the folks that are visiting our downtown. And I do support including these devices. I would approve all of the changes, and hopefully we could get a little bit more community participation. I know the community participation has been really high in regards to the petitions that the community can participate in. But in forms of reviewing the programs and evaluating them, I'm not sure we got any comments on this tonight. So that would be just my call to action for the community, that you participate and you let us know how these programs are working for you and where you would like to see them. So do we need a motion to approve this? Or so I would go ahead and move to approve staff's recommendation for this item. Thanks.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And we'll wait for Councilmember Contreras to come back here. Oh, we can afford her the opportunity to speak if she wants. Councilmember, did you want to be recognized on this item? Sure. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Let me catch my breath. First of all, I just want to say thank you, because I get a lot of compliments for the pilot program, Race Crosswalk on town site. So I'm ready to go. Thank you for allowing me to vote on this.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously, and that will bring us to item D4. Our final item tonight is one to authorize the issuance of Vista Joint Powers Financing Authority refunding lease revenue bonds. Say that 5 times fast. Series 2025A, approving the issuance of such bonds, authorizing the distribution of an official statement in connection with the offering of sale of such bonds, and authorizing the execution of necessary documents or certificates related actions. You didn't think I could get through that, did you? I almost didn't.
It's a mouthful.
If any members of the public wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature by pressing *9 or by submitting a request to speak card. Speakers will be called upon after the presentation, and our Finance Director, Mike Sylvia, will introduce this item. Mr. Sylvia.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'm excited to bring this item to you. I've mentioned the 2015 lease revenue bonds a number of times to each of you over the years, excuse me, via our quarterly financial reports, and I'm happy to report we are finally at a point where we're ready to refund them and see some significant savings. Just a little bit of a background, we did update the 1998 debt policy back in December of 2024. At that same time, we assembled the city's bond financing team. They're with us tonight. At the lectern is Leslie Bloom. She's with NHA Partners, our financial advisor. Also with us is Vanessa Legband of Stradling Law Group. She's our bond counsel. Next to her is Jeff Land. He is with Oppenheimer. He's our underwriter. And so I'm going to hand the presentation to Leslie, and she's going to walk us through a few slides for this proposed refunding.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Franklin and City Council members. As Mike mentioned, my name is Leslie Bloom with NHA Advisors, and we have been working with the city on this transaction over the last few months. In 2015, the city, through its JPA, issued lease revenue refunding bonds. They were issued in the amount of $96.12 million and have a final maturity of May 1, 2037. Those bonds have a first optional redemption of May 1, 2025, which means at that time you can refinance them for savings. The 2015 bonds are outstanding in the amount of about $74.4 million and have an average remaining interest rate of 5.16%. We estimate in the current market that you could refinance the bonds at a rate of about 3.4%, generating significant savings for the city's general fund. We analyzed two different structuring options. Here we have them listed as Scenario 1 and Scenario 2. The first is level annual savings. So the 2015 bonds have escalating debt service, and level annual savings would structure the 2025 bonds to have debt service payments that mirror the 2015, providing level savings, but those payments increase over time. Scenario 2 is level annual debt service. This is lower savings in the earlier years with bigger savings in the later years. So in the graphic on this slide, the gray bars represent the 2015 bonds, with the green line, Scenario 1, escalating over time to mirror the 2015 debt service, and the blue or purple line there being the Scenario 2, which is the level debt service option. So here we have all the numbers behind the graphic. In the black font on the left side of the slide, it's the 2015 bonds debt service. 2026 payment is about $7.4 million, and it escalates to about $9.8 million in 2037. In the middle, in the green font, Scenario number 1, you can see here annual savings are level. We estimate if under the structure, the savings would be about $840,000 equally through 2037. And then on the right, Scenario 2, you can see the level debt service payments of about $7.6 million through final maturity. Under this scenario, the savings cost a little bit upfront, but then have significant savings in the back end, and overall provide greater savings. So to summarize, both scenarios provide significant savings, and staff is recommending Scenario number 2 because it provides overall savings greater than Scenario 1. It accelerates the payments a little bit because you have higher payments in those earlier years over the later years, and then also provides for a level annual debt service payment, which is beneficial from a budgeting perspective. This scenario provides estimated $11.2 million in cumulative cash flow savings through 2037, average annual savings of $938,000, and on a present value basis, this is $8.46 million, or 11.4% of refunded principal. As with the 2015 bonds, the 2025 bonds will be structured as lease revenue bonds. This means that the city's general fund is responsible for the payments of the debt service, but a physical asset is necessary to provide further security for the financing. As with the 2015 bonds, the leased asset will consist of the City Hall complex, Fire Station number 1, and Brangle Terrace Park. As part of this refinancing, the city is able to release a couple of assets that were part of the 2015 financing. Those are Fire Station 5 and Fire Station 6. And one more point to make here is that the 2015 bonds are secured by the city's general fund. However, the city uses Measure L revenues as a source of repayment. Here we have laid out the next step if City Council chooses to move forward with this item. The financing team will engage with the credit rating agency later this week. And then the expectation would be to post the preliminary official statement, which is the offering document, to investors in late April, and then price early May and close mid-May. And so with that, I will take any questions.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Excellent information. I only have two questions for you, and that is there any potential in fluctuation that would impact this, that would change these numbers over the course of time in any market fluctuation, or is this kind of set in stone?
It definitely can change. So the numbers, the rates that we use were estimates as of March 20th. And the market has changed since then. There was a rally of interest rates last week, and then those corrected this week. So there's still some time between now and pricing, and there's flexibility to revise the timing of the pricing to
benefit for for the benefit of the city.
So I guess just to follow up on that, so if we move forward with option 2, is there a potential we can lock those rates in? Or is it still going to be dependent upon the market as time goes on?
It's dependent upon the market until the day that it's priced. And when it's priced, those rates then are locked for the duration of the financing.
Got it. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to add, it's worth mentioning, we're basically double the minimum savings threshold per the policy with the current assumptions. So there's plenty of room within allowances within the policy, and obviously our fingers are crossed that rates look more like they look last Friday than they do right now. But as Leslie said, they move every day.
It all corrects itself over time, right?
Yeah.
The only other question I have is, will this impact any current projects or future projects that we have on the books now?
No, it won't.
Okay. Those are all my questions, so I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendations and accept scenario 2 by the council.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciated, having some time to just kind of review this ahead of this meeting. But it's so difficult when you just have to, wait to see where the market's at. What's the kind of communication that would go to the council regarding, the final rate?
As soon as we get closed, I would think we'd probably include it in a weekly update, and then it would be reflective with at that point, we probably wouldn't make the Q3 financial report. It would probably be reported in a quarterly financial with Q4 next fall.
Okay. And is there any scenario in which it wouldn't make sense?
So part of the resolution in front of you tonight has not to exceed figures. So it has a not to exceed interest rate of 4.15%, which is about 75 basis points higher than where we ran the numbers. If rates were 75 basis points higher, your present value savings would be closer to about 6%, and we're showing you 11%. So that would cut your savings roughly in half. And at that point, if it goes above that, we don't have authorization to proceed. Below that, we're relying on staff.
Okay, so can you remind me what's the minimum threshold of savings that we're targeting?
So typical savings, and I think in your debt management policy, is 3 to 5% for refinancing. We are, with these numbers, 10 to 11%. The not to exceed rate in front of you would put you at about 6%.
Okay. And we're comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and second and just, I don't know, light a candle for the market. Do a little Hail Mary and whatnot. So, but thank you.
Okay, well, good work. We like to save money. Is this going to be found money? Or did we have this savings priced into our budget?
This is reserve money that will go into the Prop L reserve.
Oh, that's right, it's Prop L reserves.
Correct.
Okay, well, it's still money that we can offset other general fund expenditures with, like maintenance on our Prop L assets like this building. So that's good. But it won't be one-time money. It'll be a little bit every year and a little bit less every year until it's zero, right? Until we repay the bonds.
So to answer your first question, it's absolutely not baked into the budget because obviously we haven't closed the new refunding yet.
I just wanted to make sure that this is found. I thought that would be the case.
Yeah, no, but to your point, what it'll do, it'll create a larger surplus than we currently enjoy.
We like that.
Yeah, it will create more future funding for both repair and remediation and maintenance of the assets that were built with the original bonds back in 2007 to ensure intergenerational equity. Sorry, mouthful there. And it really that was the intent per the voters. It is a general sales tax, so it could be used for a number of things, but that would certainly be its intended purpose.
And when was the last time we were rated for bonds?
Fitch rated us, I believe, 2 months ago, and these bonds were rated AA.
Good. Okay, very good. Thank you for your good work. I third this and appreciate your good fiscal planning here. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That'll bring us to the end of our meeting tonight and our comments. Let's see, do we have any staff comments from the city clerk's office? Any from the city attorney? Mr. City Manager.
I have a couple, Mayor. Thank you. First, the city's celebrating Earth Month with several events, including participation in the Earth Day Festival at Alta Vista Gardens and a mulch and compost giveaway for Vista residents, both happening on April 19. The Stormwater Division will also host a cleanup event at Buena Vista Creek Trail on April 26 as part of the I Love a Clean San Diego's Creek to Bay cleanup. That's now the Weave Trail. The Pride of Vista Lions Club and Santa will host the annual Easter egg hunt at the Brengle Terrace Park ball fields on April 19th. Families can enjoy an Easter bonnet contest, a bike raffle, opportunity drawings, and free photos with the Easter Bunny. For more details on these events, you can visit the city's website at vista.gov in the calendar section. And last, I want to wish Councilmember Contreras a happy birthday tomorrow.
All right. Councilmember Fox.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind everyone there's a chamber mixer tomorrow at Misadventure and Company at, I believe it's 5 p.m. is when those run. I didn't see it on the calendar, but we also have Easter egg hunts at Brengle Terrace Park on Saturday, April 19th, starting at 9 a.m., as well as one with the Optimus Club as well, I believe. Other than that, it's Taco Tuesday, so go support a local restaurant. And thank you to my wife, Mina, for letting me serve. That's it.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
I was going to mention the Optimist Easter egg hunt. April 27th, I'm having a town hall regarding community safety. It'll be from 11:30 to 1 p.m. at the Thibodeau Park House. Sheriff's Captain Malin will be there as well. We're going to talk about some of the issues that he had mentioned in the previous meeting that we had and the presentation he gave. So I look forward to that. Just invite everybody from the public to show up to that. Happy to see you there. We usually get pretty good crowds, and I know it will be a lively discussion. We had a RISMO meeting last week. Nothing of note came out of it, but I will continue to update this council and the community with any changes that do happen. Aside from that, to my beautiful wife, Allie, who is going to be very happy that I'll be home much earlier than I normally am. I love you. Thank you for letting me do this, and I hope you all have a great Tuesday evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Contreras.
Yeah, just really thankful for always having the opportunity to discuss all things Vista with you all. Tomorrow I'll be a whopping 37, so I'm hoping I'll make it till then. But I'll be down in San Diego for work. So for all of you who, there's been some more inquiries because the city did the day of service for Cesar Chavez with Guerreras en Acción por un Vista Limpio. Thank you so much for that. But definitely the community always wants to know how they can help. So I've been seeing those inquiries come in. For anybody who is listening or will be listening to this in the future, if you want to help out your community and volunteer to pick up some trash around District 1, Guerreras en Acción por un Vista Limpio. They do it every single Wednesday. It's like 6 years now that they've been doing it, 9 a.m. And if you want to contact Team Captain Jovita Serafin, leader of the group, and you can't find them on social media, please contact me and I will put you in communication with her. But outside of that, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your night. It's crazy. The sunlight is still out and we're going to be done. This is a miracle. Thank you all.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for all your contributions tonight. I just want to let everyone know that we're on the final week of our second annual shoe drive. This is a project that I put on because I really want to make sure that kids and families in our community that need shoes have them. It's essential. And with this being the final week, right, we're collecting those donations from March 15th, National Shoe the World Day, and April 15th. Last year, we were able to get 100 shoes donated, a little bit over 100 shoes donated from just volunteers. And we've already matched that thanks to North County Ford and their contribution of 100 shoes to the MAC project. So get your shoes in. We have one more week. Go pick out some cute little teeny tiny shoes, and you know some kiddo is really going to appreciate them. And I hope everyone can contribute to that. And outside of that, I hope everybody has a lovely evening. Thanks.
Okay, the Vista Fire Rescue Department and the Vista Fire Protection District will host a community meeting at April 16th at the Havens Country Club to discuss wildfire safety and vegetation management. Attendees can hear from fire officials and ask questions, speak with insurance representatives about coverage and risk mitigation. We had a duplicate of this event today at lunch. It was a great event, very informative. Light snacks will be served. For more information and to RSVP, please visit the city calendar page at vista.gov. And thank you to my beautiful wife, Shauna, for allowing me to serve, as always. Have a good night, everyone. We adjourn. Thank you.